Good evening. I hope you guys have been doing well. So I found some things. I found a couple of things. I must say it's been a while since my mind was blown, but during this process, my mind was blown a couple of times. And what I did is I had a look at Pope Gregory again, and that's 1582, and that's where he made his changes. So you can see on average the difference between phases, they're from 6 to 8 days. And you can see here's the 10 days that he removed. So the green arrow, everything before that is Julian dates, and everything after that is Gregorian dates. Now what I did in this video is I took some Julian dates and converted them to Gregorian dates, and I've found some amazing results that blew my mind. And then I also specifically looked at the year 28 AD, the year just before Jesus' first Passover, which was marked 2,000 years later with a porpoise, which is marked with a porpoise, the close fast flyby. And I think I've managed to map out the whole journey from his baptism, days in the desert, wedding at Cana, all the way up to his first Passover. And that was an amazing process, and I loved it. First, I quickly need to talk about what year Jesus was born. Now, we have a record that sort of narrows it down for us, and that's because the historian Josephus in the 1st century AD wrote about Herod's death. And what he said is that Herod died shortly after a lunar eclipse and just before the Jewish holiday of Passover. So there were only two lunar eclipses in that time frame, and the one was in 4 BC, and this was a partial eclipse on May 13th, or 1 BC, which was a total eclipse on December 29. So of the two primary options, the 1 BC eclipse was a true blood moon, whilst the 4 BC eclipse was not. So which one of these two do you think Jesus would have used as a sign? Partial lunar eclipse or total lunar eclipse? I think God would have used the blood moon, and that is 1 BC. How old was Jesus when Herod gave the order to kill the babies? So in Matthew 2 verse 16 we see that the order was given by Herod to kill babies that are 2 years old and younger. Now the 4 BC partial lunar eclipse is not the eclipse that Josephus wrote about. Jesus would not, God, Almighty God that created the whole universe, would not use a partial lunar eclipse as a sign. And people that want to make Jesus this old at crucifixion, I can't take them seriously. But a 1 BC solar eclipse means that Jesus was born between 3 BC and 1 BC. And, Herod died after the solar eclipse, and that was 29 December 1 BC, and before Passover. So Jesus would have been 2 years old at that point, and this fits perfectly. So the Revelation 12 sign gave us an indicator as to when Jesus was born. You need to take into consideration that Jesus created the whole universe, and he created the Revelation 12 sign. And this sign is specifically his mother being pregnant with him. What date would he use to represent the birth of the baby? Obviously, his own birth date. Jesus is very, very, very perfect in that regard. And the Revelation 12 sign occurred on the 23rd, that's when it began, to the 24th when it ended in September 2017. Now the sign is not unique. It's not the first time in 7,000 years. The last time the sign occurred was on the 24th of September 1827. Well, that's a very long time ago, but it has happened before. But what piqued my interest immediately was the 24. It seems to be the common denominator. So that was back then when I began to research that. I thought, okay, the 24th September seemed to be a very good indicator. God would not use any other date. He created that sign. Why would he use, to represent his own birth, why would he use any other date but his own birth? But now we just had to find the year. But now luckily Josephus already gave us the year, and it is from 3 BC to 1 BC. And here we can see 3 BC or minus 2. I saw this one video of an Australian gentleman, and he was carrying on. How can you guys say that Jesus was born in 3 BC? Because BC means before Christ. But, this was just that monk that tried to work out when Jesus was born. He got a date of 0, and he was wrong. So that's why, when we stuck with it, we can't change it. But anyway, in the year -2, we see that the 24th of September is found, but it's not just found on any day. This is the Feast of Trumpets. And this is in the beginning of the year. And in the book of Genesis, you'll see that there's a different year beginning to what the calendar was that God gave to the Israelites in Exodus. If there wasn't a change, why would God need to give the calendar to them again if they already had one? And there is a slide later on that I will actually show you proof, biblical proof, that this was the head of the year. Now, please tell me that God would not, that he would indicate his birthday on just some arbitrary day. This is God. This is the creator of this universe, the Almighty. Of course, he would have his birthday at the head of the year. Now, it was changed, and I wouldn't say it was to hide it, but nothing is made obvious. So I have it here as Jesus' birthday, Feast of Trumpets, 24th September. But this is Julian, and I must say I found some amazing things by converting it back to Gregorian. And the birthday, I would say, was at the exact time of the full moon. God is very precise. And that is 12:58, or basically 2 minutes to 3 Israel time. Now, I would go as far as to say that that is the exact time of Jesus' death on the cross as well, because God is that perfect and that precise. Time means nothing for God, and when He designed everything, to design DNA and atoms and with quantum physics, everything, you cannot tell me that God is not 100% to the second precise. Okay, but now the interesting thing begins. So, 24th September, if you add 13 days to that, because this is now a Julian date, I've shown you previously, everything prior to 1582 is Julian. So if you add 13 days to that, you get to the 7th of October. So in our time frame we're living in now, Jesus' birthday is on the 7th of October, but it is the 24th of September, Julian. And yeah, so what we're looking at here is the year 2025, and that was the 8th year anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign. Now on the timeline, I've used the 24th of September many times to indicate the anniversary of the Revelation 12 sign. And at one stage I had two timelines, and then I realized the one timeline was the Julian timeline and the other one was a Gregorian timeline. So fixing that, of course, in the Gregorian time, we would need to use the 7th October because that is the Gregorian date for Jesus' birthday. And look at this, 2025, October the 7th is the 1st of Tishri, or actually New Moon Day, depending on which calendar you use. It can be the 1st of Tishri or New Moon Day. But it's October the 7th, and that's the Feast of Trumpets, and that is the Gregorian date for Jesus' birthday. But what I found very interesting is from the 7th of October, if you count to 6th July, which is quite a day of importance to me on my timeline, it's exactly 9 months, but you have to count inclusively. So in other words, if you enter the dates into a date calculator, you have to enter the 6th, so that it counts the 7th as the first day. And then it's exactly 9 Gregorian months, or the time of pregnancy. And this is the Revelation 12 sign, which indicates a woman giving birth, and 9 months later brings us to the 6th of July 2026. And as I've mentioned, I've got that as a date of importance. I've got no idea if anything will happen on that date. And I doubt that it could be another pointer, but because we're running out of time. But yeah, that's exactly 9 months. And the Revelation 12 son is about it's about Mary giving birth to Jesus, her son. And it happened on his birthday, which was the 7th of October in the year 2025. It's the 8th year anniversary. And so it's about Mary giving birth to our God, Jesus. Okay, now we're going to be looking at the year 32 AD, which is the year in which Jesus was crucified. And you can see there's Nisan 1, New Moon Day, April 14. And then we have Crucifixion Day, April 28. And the time there is 1 minute past 7, but in Israel time that would be 1 minute past 9. And I believe that Jesus went on the cross at exactly 1 minute past 9. God is that precise. But now we have to keep in consideration that this is a Julian date. So to convert that to Gregorian, we have to add 13 days. So when we add 13 days to that, we get the 11th of May Gregorian. So that is the date of crucifixion today, which is 28 April in the year 32. And of course, resurrection was 3 days later, and that would bring us to the 13th of May. Now this I found very interesting because the 13th of May I found in the previous video. And here you can see where I found the 13th of May in the previous video. Now it's a good thing that I went back to the slide because I had a mistake here. For some reason I wrote April in there instead of May. But how the slide works is I looked at Jesus's first Passover, which was in 29 AD, and his 2000th Passover was marked by a sign in the heavens, or is marked by a sign in the heavens, which is Apopus's close flyby on the 13th of April 2029. And then I thought, but what other 2000 years could there be? So I thought, what if Jesus returns exactly 2000 years after he left on Ascension Day, on the exact same day? And then I worked out the Ascension Day in 2032, and that is 19 June. And then I realized at some point that from the 3rd of March, which is a blood moon, it's exactly 2,300 days to get to the 19th June. Then I took it back 6 years, but that didn't work out because it's in the past, and we have to have 7 years, even before it's shortened. It must at least be 7. So then I saw that if you add 7 prophetics here, you get to the 13th of May, which is 1 day before the 14th of May. And that is when Israel turns 85 years old specifically. Now the Bible mentions 85 specifically, and that it's 1 day before that makes complete sense to me. Now again, this 14 April is marked by the blood moon, but due to the precision of the equinox, the real astronomically correct calendar, or Nisan 1, is actually the 14th of May over here. So the 13th would be 1 day before. And of course 13 May is Jesus's day or date of his crucifixion, if you take the conversion from Julian to Gregorian. And I thought this was absolutely amazing. 13 May represents Resurrection Day. Sorry, Resurrection Day, not crucifixion, resurrection. And then 14 May is the day Israel becomes 85 years old. And then time was reduced to get us to 19 June, which is Ascension Day, which would be exactly 2,000 years after Jesus left, to the day. And probably, possibly, to the minute as well. You know, God is extremely precise. I found some more interesting things with regards to 15 and 25 Kislev. And this is from a previous video, but just to recap quickly, it's the 15th day of the month Kislev in the year 145. The king erected upon the altar of Holocaust the abomination. So that's when the abomination was set up in the book of Maccabees in the Septuagint. And 145 is a different year count to ours. The Maccabees date events using the Seleucid era. And so we just have to work out what that was, and we did that in the previous video, and that gives 167 BC or minus 166 astronomical. And the Maccabees, they were using the Babylonian calendar. This is after the Babylonian invasion. So you can see that if they took the full moon, they would look at the sliver moon whenever that was, and then on the full moon, the 6th of December was the 15th of Kislev in the year 167 BC. And then of course 25 Kislev would just be 10 days later. And then also we saw in the year 2029 that 15 Kislev and 25 Kislev also falls on 6 December and 16 December. And you can see how I worked it out there, but this is also from a previous video, so I'm not going to go into detail. But it's just, we have now the the 6th and the 16th of December in the year 167 AD, and now we have it in 2029. And we also have it in the year 28 AD. So this is interesting. When you find more than two that correspond on God's timeline, then, I immediately start to pay attention. But I have discussed this, and you can just see that it's 6th and 16th as well. So we have three different important events, dates on the timeline that all correspond. So everywhere marked in yellow is where the 6th and the 16th December falls on the 15th and 25th Kislev. So the first one we have in 167 BC, that's the Book of Maccabees. And then counting from there, count all the way to 0, that's 167 years. And then you count on to 28 AD, and that is where Jesus was being baptized and spent his time in the wilderness. And that would be his first Passover in 29 AD, and 2,000 years later is marked by a sign in the heavens to the day. And then you have his 3 years of ministry, and then you have in 32 April is where the crucifixion happens. Then in our time we have 29 AD, we have Apophis, of course, Apophis in the beginning, which is the 2000 year anniversary there, but then we have 15 and 25 Kislev as well. And then that's followed by 3 years of great tribulation. Similar in a similar sense to Jesus' 3 years, but just different context. And I just thought this is a good representation to show you. Okay, so now we're going to be looking at the year 28 AD, which is the year just prior to Jesus' first Passover in 29, which then 2,000 years later is marked with Apophis flyby. And Jesus would have been born on the 24th of September. So just note that this 22 September refers to 28 AD. Jesus would have been born 24 September, and then 40 days later, he would have been brought to the temple. And we know it was 40 days after birth, because Luke 2:22 states that they went to the temple when the time of their purification, according to the law of Moses, had been completed, which Leviticus 12 explicitly defines as a 40-day period for a male child. But now this is the year 28. Jesus had just turned 30. So on the Feast of Trumpets is his 30th birthday. So now if we take his 30th birthday plus 40 days, that's the 31st of October. So that is initially where Jesus was brought to the temple as a baby, but this is the day on which Jesus was baptized. Okay, so we've seen 22nd September plus 40 days. It's 31st October, that's when Jesus was brought to the temple as a baby and baptized as an adult. So he was baptized on the 31st. So on the 1st, and counting the 1st inclusively, so that is a 1, and 40 days from there, that's 40, Jesus' 40 days in the wilderness, brings us to 10 December 28 AD. Okay, then in John 2, Jesus travels to the wedding at Cana. And if you add all the days together, it's 7 days of travel. So 10 December plus 7 days, so inclusive counting, brings us to the 16th of December 28 AD, which as we've seen before is 25 Kislev or Hanukkah. And it's the same with the Maccabees in the year 167 BC. It is the same date in 28 AD, and it's again the same date in the year 2029. So not only does the Passover correspond to 2,000 years, but we also have the Hanukkah correspondence over 2,000 years. But now, 25 Kislev in the time of Maccabees was initially on the 6th of December in the book of Maccabees is when the abomination of desolation is set up in the temple, and that was a statue to Zeus. And on the 25th of Kislev is when they started sacrificing to Zeus. And then Maccabees had a revolt, and it took them 3 years, and they basically destroyed the enemy. And exactly 3 years later, on the 25th of Kislev, they reinstated the temple for Jesus or Yahweh. Obviously, that was before Jesus. Okay, so now on the timeline, we had 16 December on Hanukkah, 25 Kislev. And in John 2, verse 6, we read, "And there were set there 6 water pots of stone, after the manner of the purifying of the Jews, containing 2 or 3 firkins apiece." And I looked at this and I thought, but why 6 and why 2 or 3 firkins? Surely it's a code. Everything is a code. Jesus is a mathematical, well, way beyond any mathematical genius. He's God. And I thought, okay, but let me add, or not add, let me multiply the 6 by 23. So I took 6 December, and 6 times 23 is 138. And I worked out the date from there, and it brought me to the 2nd of May, 29 AD. And here you can see 29 AD, and the 2nd of May is Passover. And this blew me away. I mean, I thought, what's the odds of this being Passover? I mean, why 6 times 23, 138? If you add that to 16 December, you get to Passover. But it is Passover. So from the wedding at Cana, 16 December plus 138 days, is Passover. So what happened when Jesus went to the temple on the 2nd of May in the year 2029 AD? This is his first Passover. He finds the temple defiled. He finds the Pharisees busy trading in the temple, and there's changing of money. The money changes are they, and it was absolutely defiled. And Jesus chased them from the temple. Now think about what that means. I mean, he's chasing them from the temple. He's cleaning the sanctuary. He's cleaning the temples. And then 3 years later, from 29, that would bring us to Passover in the year 32. Jesus becomes our daily sacrifice on 28 April, which is 13 May 32, Gregorian. So I'm going to end with this slide. So on the 19th of June 2026, Jesus would have returned before time was shortened. 7 prophetic years later, on the 13th of May 2033, which is his resurrection anniversary. And this is now taking the Julian conversion into Gregorian into account. And this is one day before the 1st of Nisan, which would have turned the counter into 2001 years. The 14th of May also being the day on which Israel turns 85. And we know that's not going to happen. So he shortened the time from there by 330 days. And I have it at the ascension now on the shortened time. It's 19 June 32. But the midpoints still stay the same, the 6th and the 16th of December 2029. Yeah, well, I think that's it from me. Guys, have a blessed day. God bless you, and goodbye.